So the way the banking system works is that if you understand the difference between credits and debits, that's the difference between whether or not your money is actually making money for you or whether or not your money is making money for the bank. So people think that when you walk into a bank, they think that the bank is interested in interest. So people think that that's the major reason, but they're interested in charging you interest on a loan. That's some chump change. That's not how the bank is making the majority of their money. That's why when you walk into a bank, they're so interested in giving you interest on your account. The reason that the bank is interested in giving you interest on your account is because the bank is interested in making sure they can do anything to make sure that you make a deposit. So you ever had somebody send you like $500 to make a bank deposit? And you wonder why they're so adamant about getting me to deposit money in their bank. Most people think that it's because they think the way that the bank makes money, or the major way that the bank makes money, is that they loan your money out to somebody else, which is true. The bank does loan your money out, loan my money out to other people. That's true. But that's not how they're getting rich. The way the bank gets rich is that the bank understands the difference between debits and credits. So you say, what do you mean by that, Brother Ricky? When you deposit some money into the bank, then that's a debit to you. That's why they give you a debit card, right? But when for the bank, it's a credit to them. But it's not just a credit for the amount of money that you deposited. It's a credit for the credit to the amount of money that you deposited. That's why when you put a dollar in the bank, they get credit for $10. When you put $10 in the bank, they get credit for $100. When you put $100 in the bank, they get credit for $1,000. So they're more concerned about the credit that they get from the Federal Reserve, because the whole banking system is made out of smoke and mirrors. It's all made out of what? Credit. That's why credit was introduced to the United States. And that's why the Federal Reserve was created in the first place. They said we want to create a monetary system that's based on credit, not based on anything that actually backs it up. So that's why they got rid of gold as the standard for backing up a dollar, because they don't want anything that can prove how much money they have. So they don't want no proof. So everything that you do, this way, sweetie. Mm-hmm. So everything that you do when you go into a bank is based on no proof. You don't know where your money is, and they don't have to prove it to you. You get a statement, a paper statement saying you got so much money. It's a paper statement. So, but because there's nothing physical backing it up, there's no proof that you have anything. It's just a statement. So it's just like a promissory note that this is how much money you got in the bank, turn. Mm-hmm. So it's like a promissory note that this is how much money that you have in the bank. So you're like, okay, cool. So what are you really getting when I put this dollar in the bank? What they're really getting is credit for $10. But they don't put that on your statement. Make it right? Yeah. So they don't put it on your statement that what we really just got for your dollar is $10. And when you put $100 in the bank, they don't put on the statement that you get that we really just got $100 for your $10. They don't say that. It's not on the statement. What's on the statement is you put in $10.
Oatmeal raisin.
Yeah. So what's on your statement is that you put in $100. That's on your statement, and then it show you the interest that you got. So 1% interest on $100 is what? $1. So at the end of the year, you'd be made $1 off of $100. So when you get your statement, it says $101. So you like, damn, I wish this interest could grow a lot faster. So you put $1,000 in. So at the end of the year, you get $1,010. You're like, man, I wish this stuff could grow faster. So you put $10,000 in. So you say at the end of the year, you get $10,100 because you're only getting 1% of the money. You say, man, I wish this could grow faster. So you put $100,000 in. So at the end of the year, you get $100,000 plus what, $1,000, $101,000 back at the end of the year on your statement. But your statement is not stating what's going on behind the scenes. So if you're taking notes, or if you're putting it in the comment section, let's just put BH in the comment section, because there are things going on behind the scenes. So what's going on behind the scenes? What's behind the scenes is that the bank is getting credit for the money that you deposited. And that's what the bank doesn't talk about. Because the bank has a know your client rule, meaning that when you come in, the bank can ask you any question they want to ask you about you. It's in their book. It's called Know Your Client Rule. So they can ask you any question they want. They can be as invasive as they want to be. They can say, hey, listen, what's your first and last name? You tell them. But you're sitting up there looking at the person, and you ain't ever asked them, what's your first and last name? Why? Because the bank is the only one that's got the power to ask questions when you walk into a bank, the way the banking system is set up, because they're talking to you because you don't even exist. You're a dead person, and dead people can't talk back. You hear me? Dead people can't have responses. All they can do is just do what they're told. So the bank says, where do you live at? So you tell them I live at 3333 Pop Me Off Lane. All right. 3333 Take Advantage of Me Lane. 3333 I'm Naive in the Lane. 3333 Uneducated Lane. Why? Because all the questions are going towards me and you. They're not going to the bank. So there's no way in the world you can come into a financial institution and be aware of what's going on, and you don't ask the financial institution any questions at all, and don't even have the inclination to ask them a question because it seems intrusive to be asking them questions about them, because you're like, well, that's y'all business. But they ask you questions about you because they are like, you are our business. But that's the way people treat dead people. So that's why it's important to learn how to operate as a creditor. So when you go into a bank and you make a deposit into the bank, now, instead of it being a debit to you, it can be a credit to you. All right, so everybody put CM in the chat. If you're going to ever have some money, if your kids are going to ever have some money, if you're going to ever get out of this rat race and stop just running around working for other people, I'm talking about it's bad enough that we work for employers. Then we take the money and we work for the bank. It makes no sense. We work for the employer first, and then we work for the bank second. Because why? Because when we get the money from the employer, we take it to the bank. Are you hearing me? We have no idea how much money the employer is making off our labor, and we have no idea how much the bank is making off of our money. So that means that we ignorant twice. Are you listening to me? We ignorant to the employer, how much money they making off our efforts, and we ignorant to the bank, how much they're making off of our money. So we have what? We have labor. We have ignorant labor and ignorant money. And that ends up having what? Ignorant results. And the result of that is what? You have to keep doing the same thing. So you have to keep doing the same thing for 10, 15, 20 years. So if you all are tired of that and you want to break those cycles, then I want to invite you to our Financial IQ Challenge coming up this Monday, October the 6th. So if you're interested, just put challenge in the chat, in the comments section. And once you get that link, come on out, and I'll be glad to teach you how to become a creditor as opposed to being a debtor. Me and every last one of my clients are all creditors. None of us are debtors. Every last one of us, we walked in the bank as a debtor and we walked out as a creditor. Why? Because we walked in with a tax-free, tax credit producing trust. So now we get the credit for the money we deposit. Meaning what? The money that we deposit is owed back to us. It doesn't belong to the bank because it was never the bank's money in the first place. It was always ours. It's just that our status was wrong because we wasn't operating out of a trust. That's why I started operating out of a trust, 3-4 years ago. And that's why I've been training everybody on what to do around the world, because I'm like, we don't know what's going on. So we're just extremely naive. And we're behaving as debtors instead of creditors. So let me go back over what I started talking about when I first started in again. You can never make it in the economic world if you don't understand just this one concept. What's the difference between a credit and a debit? If you don't understand that, you can never have any money. I mean, no real money. Why? Because it means that you're going to donate your money every time you make a deposit. Because the money does not come back because you donating it to the bank for their services. You say, I'm not donating money to the bank, Brother Ricky. Yes, you are, if you are depositing the money as a debtor. That means what? You dropping off your money, just like if you was dropping off your kids at a daycare, and you like, look, I don't need no cameras in here or nothing. Y'all can pimp slap the kids around, and use them for chattel if you want to. I don't know what you're doing. Why? It's none of my business what you're doing. But I stopped by here this afternoon to let you know it is your business. What? Your money is your business. And what happens to it is your business. So when you're talking to when you walk into the bank to make a bank deposit, you should know the entire process of what takes place the second you make the deposit. The reason you don't know the process is because the bank is the one asking you all the questions. Well, you don't have to put up with that mess. That's why I have financial IQ challenges, and that's why I have a program that trains you for an entire year on how to bank, so that you can get your money back, and so that people can stop telling you what to do, and you dictate the pace. Are you hearing me? I say you dictate the pace. Put DTP in the chat if you're tired of being at a pace that's being dictated to you. I don't like dictatorships, and I don't participate in them. I'm an educated man, and I educated my kids, Shantae, my daughter, my son, my grandkids. This is the way we operate. We operate as creditors. We don't operate as debtors, because we realize that the difference between the two is whether we're gonna have any real money or not. I don't know about you, but I want to dictate the pace. I don't like to have if you want to dictate the pace, put DTP in the chat and speak over your life. Speak those words out. Say, you know what, Lord, I'm tired of just being a pawn in an economic system that I don't have no say-so in. I'm tired. I ain't got no say-so on where I work. I ain't got no say-so. They just give me a salary. I don't make none of the profits that the company makes. And then I take the money that I make, and then I go to the bank, and I don't make no profits that they make. And come on, that's you can't beat me down twice. How in the world am I having any money? That just don't make common sense. I work for a company. They make enormous amounts of profits. I don't get any of it. And then I lead a company, and then I go to the bank, and they make enormous amount of profits, and I don't get none of those either. Well, I can't have it where everybody profiting is the people that I'm working for, and then I work for the bank. So I got two jobs. I'm just talking to you about if you go into a bank and you're making a deposit and you're not the creditor, that means that you work for the bank. You say, what do you mean, Brother Ricky? You might as well take your work clothes off, put on a nice suit and a tie, and get behind the counter and be a teller. Why? Because you work for the bank. The only way you work for yourself is if the money you put in the bank, that it comes back to you. That means you're working for yourself because you're a creditor. Now, you hear what I'm saying? So I started doing this, started doing this in 2021. Okay. So we filed our first 2022 return to 1099 the bank as a creditor, as opposed to depositing money as a debtor. So Shantae put $98,000 in the bank that year. Yeah, $98,000 in the bank that year. And because we 1099 the bank with a 1099B, which is a bartering with the bank, because we did that, she got back $1,042,000 from the Department of Treasury, mailed to our doorstep in our mailbox. Just came in one day and looked out. I'm like, now that's dictating. That's everybody put DTP in the chat if you want to dictate the pace. Now listen to me. I don't want my money growing so slow. I'm gonna be dead before it's worth anything. I'm already 63 years old. I can't afford to leave money in no bank account. I just can't afford it. Why? It takes 72 years for it to double. I'm 63. That means in 70 years I'll be what? 130. I'll be 135. I'd have to be 135 just for $1 to be $2. Why? If I was depositing my money as a debtor. And that's what I was doing. I was like, man, I'm already I'm physically alive, but in commerce, I'm dead. I mean, if I gotta wait 72 years for $1 to be $2, that means in commerce, I'm a dead man. And I don't know about you, but I prefer to operate the way the bank operates. I'm like, no, I'm gonna be my own bank. So when I go into the bank, I'm gonna have these, I'm gonna fill out these forms. There's 1099B, there's 1099A, there's 1099 OID. I know how to fill them all out. All right. And that's what I teach you all. So you come to the class if you want to come. Just put challenge in the chat if you want to come and learn what's going on. I'm not guessing. All right. I'm not talking about something that maybe works. I'm talking about how we put $98,000 in the bank and got back $1,042,000. That's just our first return. We actually have it. I mean, we actually got $1,042,000. And for those of you all who hang out around me and come to my free classes, I actually showed you our check. So I don't have to show nobody no check or try to front to try to impress nobody, nothing like that. I'm just part of a revolution. So, because I'm part of a revolution, I'll show you what I'm actually doing. I don't talk about theories and stuff that maybe kind of sort of may work. I'm telling you what we actually do. And you can do the same thing. The average everyday person. You ain't got to be rich. You say, but Ricky, how much your classes cost? Once you start finding out how to become a creditor, this is what I do this is how I approach life. Once somebody tells me how to get free, all I do is stand by the door, and when the door opens, I run out. I figure out what to do on the other side of the Underground Railroad. All right, listen to me. You don't sit around contemplating when the door opens what to do, and like all of what you're going to do. You just run through the door and get on the other side, and then you can find out what's going on. That's why I have a challenge. That's why I've done 47 financial IQ challenges, and that's why we have one coming up on this Monday, October the 6th. If you're interested in coming, if you want to break out of the status of being a debtor, just put challenge in the chat and come on to the challenge, and we'll teach you. Now listen, the challenge is every day next week, October the 6th. It starts at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern. It runs for 2 hours every day if you're in the VIP section. If you can't even make the challenge, or if you miss a day, we send you a replay every single day, as long as you're in the VIP section. So if you decide to come to the challenge, I recommend you come in at the VIP section. You say, how much is that? That's $297 to come into the VIP section. I recommend you do that. All right? We have a section that's less, and we have a section that's more. But I recommend that you come in at least the VIP section.
Because we don't do stuff like this. We
Take
ain't
it back in
sloppy.
and tell them straight it out.
I'm saying we don't do sloppy work like
Yeah,
that.
tell them straight it out. I'm gonna trying to taste some cookies with the icing on the box. Kind of mess. Let me see. Let me show everybody that. Is this sloppy? Is this sloppy? What's up with that? How's somebody gonna give you some cookies? Can y'all see that? Y'all see the icing on the box? Who's this we busting out? What's that name? Crumble, huh? Crumble. Why don't you take that? Ain't that? Come on, everybody put scandalous in the chat. Ain't that scandalous? Don't make no sense. How lazy is that?
I will not get that from you, Coach. It's on everything.
You got icing all over you? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have to interrupt this program. Shantae got icing on. I got a ride.
So crazy.
All right. So if y'all interested, come to the challenge. Put challenge in the chat. And so Shantae, you put how much money in the bank? $90,000, right?
Yeah.
And they gave you, and the check was $1 million and what? 42,000, right?
Man, crazy.
Took you how long to do that? 13 months?
13 months?
13 months, right? So you are officially a creditor now. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of a debtor. So that's the major reason why they gave you money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all your life before you open up the trust with us, had you ever got back any of your money from the bank?
No way.
Never, right?
Only that little couple $200-300 they used to entice me in.
$200 or $300. What you mean? Explain that again.
Like, like, hey, open an account with us, and we'll give you $300. I'm like,
Oh, you mean a check to open an account?
yeah, like
Right.
that's the only money that they gave me was to con me to open an account there.
Right. That's what I was telling everybody when we first started. So did y'all hear that? So that's how most of us are operating. Most of us are operating because the bank sent us, because you got, they want you to open up an account. So they send you $500 to get you to open up an account. That should wake us up. That if somebody sends me a request to do business and say, listen, come in here and we'll give you $500 to open up an account. Well, that should tell us all that the reason behind that is that they got some serious alternative. I mean, some serious alternative motivation. It's got to be serious. Why? Because we thinking, the average person thinking, they that interested in my deposit so they can loan my money to somebody. That's just the icing on the cake. That's not the cake. That's the icing on the cake. Yeah, the bank does want to loan our money to people. And yes, they do loan it to the person that's right in line behind us, right on the side of us. And they loan our money to countries and everybody too. But because you don't have a know your bank rule, you don't know where your money is. You don't know how. You don't have a clue what happens to your money when you go into the bank unless you've been educated. See, we're educated, all right? We study common law like night and day. My staff got 100 years worth of experience, all right? My staff does, my team that works with us, that creates our trust, got 100 years worth of experience, and we're not guessing. We know what's going on. We understand how to write it. We understand how to file the paperwork that goes along with it. And if you're interested in that, just put challenge in the chat and come on out, because nobody can become a creditor with us without coming to a challenge and learning what we're doing, because we don't need no money. We're just gonna keep filing our stuff. And so now that we done filed one and got $1 million back, common sense. We just put the $1 million back into the account and get 10 million. All right, without doing no work. Okay? Are you hearing what I'm saying? You say, I don't believe you, Brother Ricky. I don't need you to believe me. I'm just educating you on what's going on. All right? I'm an educator. I'm a teacher. And that's what I do for a living. Teach people. Educate people. I've been teaching people for 40 years. And when I learned about this trust, and when I learned about the difference between credits and debits, I'm like, well, that's what I'm gonna put my focus on, because that's the simplest way I've ever heard of making money and ain't even gotta work. Making money and don't even have to invest it. No investment risk whatsoever. Just filing a 1099-A, filing a 1099-B, filing a 1099 OID, learning the process of how to do it, and we are masters at that. We got that stuff down to a science. So I know some of y'all may have been trying to do this before, and you really don't know what you're doing. That's why we have a challenge. So you come out. This is just part of what we do in the challenge. All right. Our challenge is about 3 things. We show you how to make money, a lot of it, fast, because we're real good at communicating. And my clients and my students, who nobody used to know before, are known all over the world now. So number 2, we show you how to manage that money, because a fool in this money is soon depart. Most people that hit the lottery, they broke again in what? 2 years. Most people. The lion's share of people that hit the lottery, and it don't make no difference how much money they got, because you know how people are. As soon as you get some money, everybody come out the woodworks. Your brothers, your sisters, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, everybody just come from out the woodworks, but begging you for money. And then you have these fake so-called financial advisors, and quite often they advise you with things that make sense for them to do. Take like Michael Jackson, for example. He made all that money, I mean billions of dollars over his career, being the #1 entertainer in the world. He died in 2009. And so Michael Jackson's attorney, they put Michael Jackson into a revocable family trust. A revocable trust, not an irrevocable trust. They made him a debtor, they didn't make him a creditor. So he died, and when he died, because he was a debtor, all of his stuff went into the debtor's system. All right? Everybody put DS in the chat, because I want to get y'all out of the debtor's system. You say, what does that mean? That means that all of your money that you're making right now currently is destined to go in to pay debts, instead of it being destined to be left alone, because it's up under, it's everything that you have is credited to the trust. When your trust is your secured party, everything that you have is credited to the trust. In other words, it's a trust asset. Whenever you have an asset, that gives you a credit. Are y'all listening to me? I know I'm driving and I can't see y'all. And you say you can't see us none of the time, Ricky. I mean, I can't see y'all comments. That's what I mean. And so this credit and debit thing is the difference between rich people and poor people. I mean, yeah, it's just that simple. You one or the other. Either you're a creditor or you're a debtor. If you're a debtor, that means that you're making the creditors rich. If you're a creditor, that means you're getting rich off the debtor. That's the way it is. The Bible says to be the lender and not the borrower, above and not the head, above and not behind, above and not beneath, rather, and to be the head and not the tail. Deuteronomy chapter 28. Most of us that read the Bible or go to church, we've read that scripture before, but we don't understand debits and credits. If you don't understand debits and credits, then that scripture will never apply to you. I'm talking about money-wise. Unless you become a creditor, you'll never have no real money, because even if you make some money as a debtor, when you die, it goes to all the strangers. I mean, Michael Jackson made a lot of money, but Michael Jackson died as a debtor. He didn't die as a creditor. All right? So because he wasn't a creditor, his money fell prey to predators. Because predators, they prey on you when you're not a creditor. They prey on you because you're a debtor. Predators prey on debtors. They don't prey on creditors, because they can't have none of our money, because our money is secure. They can't touch it. Hey, listen to me. So Michael Jackson's, this is another reason why we have so many people walking around as debtors, is because of the lawyers. The lawyers, the average person's lawyer is a statutory lawyer. They're not a private law, common law, private attorney. They don't know nothing about what I'm telling you now. That's why when I'm teaching people, I'm like, about 99,000 times out of 100,000 times, your attorney is oblivious to what I'm talking about. That's why we create our own trust and teach people how to create their own trust. You don't need no attorney. We don't tell people that. We like, you can do your own stuff. All right? You can read and write, you can count. You don't need to be prey to somebody, you know, and being no sucker and just being gullible and naive just because this person got some type of title. That don't make nobody important because they got a title. What makes a person important is, in the money business, is whether or not they can make your money grow, and whether or not when you die, your money is going to stay in your family. And if they don't know how to do that, then fire them bums, all right, because they don't know what they're doing. That's why I wrote my book, Control Everything, Own Nothing. It's a good introduction so that you can get your mind right about this whole process, a difference between a creditor and a debtor. And if you haven't read my book, just put control in the chat. Just put the word control in the chat, and then they'll send you the link and you can buy it. All right, educate yourself. You know, everything that I'm talking to you about, we got the paperwork to prove it. Everything I'm talking about, and we got the checks to prove it. All right, but we got the paperwork to prove why we even got the checks. All right, it's all about paperwork. Money ain't nothing but paperwork. All right, listen to me. Money, the way the bank whole system was created, it was all just created off of paperwork. And they literally gave you some paper to pass around to each other to be able to buy and sell things. So that was masterful that the Federal Reserve would come up with an idea of, let's create credits and debits. And then the people, they so slow, it'll be 100 years before they realize the difference between credits and debits. They won't even question it. Read the book Fruit from a Poisonous Tree by Melvin Stamper. Fruit from a Poisonous Tree by Melvin Stamper. I highly recommend you read that book. Read chapter 2. Chapter 2 in the book, it talks specifically about Woodrow Wilson. In fact, it's his own words. And Woodrow Wilson says, listen, we're going to create a system of credits and debits. And we're going to use human beings to be the debt. And then we, as the United States Corporation of America, we will receive the credits, because you can only have a credit where there is a debt. It has to be a debit in order to have a credit. So they said, let's use the human being, the person, let's use him as the actual debt for the United States. That's why they created debt with the United States in the first place. They said, listen, in order for us to be a company posing as a country, a democracy posing as a republic, and basically some pimps posing as preachers, they said the only way we're going to be able to pull this off is we got to be able to create a monetary system that's what? Unregulated. A monetary system that's what? That's obtruse, confusing, chaotic, and secretive. That's why when they had the meeting at Jekyll's Island, that's the second book you should buy, The Creature from Jekyll's Island. I highly recommend that book, where the United States Federal Reserve was created, because the Federal Reserve is not a federal place at all. It's a non-federal place full of foreigners who control the wealth of most of the world. And so it was created in 1910 in Jekyll's Island, Georgia, an island in Georgia where John Pierpont Morgan owned, all right? So the Federal Reserve was basically created by John Pierpont Morgan, the Rothschilds, and Rockefeller. Those are the three major influences that created the monetary system. So the monetary system, the way that we know it, it had to be created based on debt, because that means that as long as there's some debt that'll never be paid, if you can get somebody to be responsible for the debt, unbeknownst to the person. In other words, let me put it to you this way. I got $1 million bill. Well, let's just say I got $1,000 bill. And it's my bill. But I passed the bill to you. And you said, how you going to pass the bill to me? I'm going to pass the bill to you, and you're going to pay the bill, but you don't know you paying the bill. Why? Because I'm going to disguise it by opening up a bank. You say, what do you mean? I'm going to open up a bank, And every single time you come in here and make a bank deposit, you're going to be paying my bill. But you're not going to realize you're paying my bill because you think that you're making a deposit as a creditor, but you're really making a deposit as a debtor because you are the debtor that's paying back my bill. You say, what do you mean, my bill? In 1933, the United States of America filed bankruptcy. And when they filed bankruptcy, they said you cannot file bankruptcy unless you have somebody that's in debt. And there has to be trustees to the bankruptcy. So they let the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund be the trustees. You say, how is the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund all foreigners? How can you have foreign trustees for American debt? How can that be so? You say, well, that's because nobody ever questioned none of this. Because once the monetary system was based on debt and based on fiat currency, everything could be hidden. Because what? They make all the rules. You don't know nothing about where your money goes when you make a deposit into the bank. You know nothing about it. There is no tracing of your money. It's the craziest business proposition I've ever seen in my life. For a man and a woman, anybody with just common sense would walk into a business and say, I want to invest in your business. And the person say, cool. They say, okay, so can you tell me something about the business? You say, no, that's none of your business. They say, can you tell me what you're going to do with the money? They say, no, that's none of your business. Can you tell me how much you're going to flip it? No, that's none of your business. Can you tell me exactly where it's going? No, that's none of your business. Can you at least tell me who you're going to be loaning the money to? No, that's none of your business. All right. So you got any questions for me? Yeah. What's your mama's maiden name? Where do you live at? What's your social security number? The only person asking the questions is the bank because they're talking to you because you're a dead person. They don't respect you. And it's a disrespectful relationship to be in business with somebody that you pay money to, and the people won't be accountable to you, but you got to be accountable to them. Have you ever heard of anything so absurd in your life that you would make an agreement to be in business with somebody? They ain't even got no money. All right? Let's put it to you this way. Let's say you was talking to your son or your daughter, and your son or your daughter said, hey, mama, hey, daddy, I want to go into business. You say, yeah, cool. They say, can I get $1,000? Because I want to go because I ain't got no money. You're like, yeah, I know you ain't got no money because I'm the one that's been paying all your bills all your life. And I know your money is funny and your change is strange. All right? But you're my son. You're my daughter. So, yeah, the answer is yes, baby. So you loan your son or your daughter $1,000. You say, by the way, what are you going to do with the money? They say, well, you know, mama, that ain't really none of your business. Pops, I'm sorry, I can't answer that. You're like, excuse me? All right, well, who are you going to loan me this money out? Yeah, I'm intend to do that. All right, well, who are you going to loan it to? Well, I can't divulge that. You can't tell me who you're going to loan the money to, and I'm the one that's loaning you the money? You're like, no, I can't tell you who I'm going to loan the money to because that ain't none of your business. All right? You say, well, let me ask you another question then. Well, are you going to do any foreign investments take this out of the country? I refuse to answer that question on grounds that I definitely will incriminate myself. I just want you to see how absurd it is. Everybody put TC in the chat. Put TC in the chat. Y'all know that's crazy. I said, you know that's crazy. You would never do that. Everybody put TC in the chat. You know you would never agree to loan somebody your money in a business and they won't even tell you what they're doing with the money. You would never agree to that. Never. But you do it every time you deposit money into a bank. The bank ain't nothing but a business, and you in business with the bank. So if you get a bank your money and you don't know what they're doing with it, that means that what? You are allowing the bank to do whatever they want to do, and you're not questioning what's going on, but they question you. And I just want you to know the game behind that. Everybody put TG in the chat because that's game. The best way to keep a person that you robbing, that you tricking, and that you manipulating, and that you exploiting, and that you're taking advantage of, the best way to keep them off guard or off balance is to make sure that you question them. And if that ain't pimping, I don't know what is. I bring you my money, drop it off with you. I can't get no explanations about nothing. And then you have the audacity to drill me and act like you did me a favor by accepting my money that I brought into your business to invest with you. That's the relationship that most of us got with them. That's the relationship most of us have with a bank, not us. So if you're tired of that relationship and you had enough of that nonsense, just put challenge in the chat and come on to the next challenge. Our next challenge is October the 6th. October the 6th coming up. And Hold on a second, man. October the 6th. How you doing today, my brother? Can you reach me? I said, can you reach me? I'm doing phenomenal, man. Good to see you. I said, I'm doing great.
Good.
Hold on a second.
Just making up the name.
Pardon?
Say you got to buy a house, you're liking up there.
Some pretty eyes.
Yeah.
Love you, brother.
We'll be loving that up there.
Love you,
Buy a
man.
house, man, just one way on the island, one way off.
God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your beautiful day, okay? Try to get some rest, okay?
Awesome.
All right. Love you, guys. Appreciate you.
Safe.
Yes, sir. Likewise.
It's pretty. I ain't like jade. They weren't even blue. They were
I ain't gonna
turquoise.
say his eyes is pretty to sound.
His eyes are.
I'm not gonna say that. You can say that. Okay, you're a lady.
His eyes are.
I'm gonna say it. The guy's eyes look like. Y'all hear Shantae? Guys have pretty eyes. I can't say
They were
stuff like-
turquoise.
I can't say stuff like that.
They weren't even blue like DiCaprio's last night. They were turquoise.
Now, this man is sitting outside with no legs, and we can't stop by and just hand him $1. Well, now, y'all know me. I'll pass out number C notes. I don't play. Why? Because I get my money back from the bank. So when I see people and they in trouble, something like that, I'm going to take care of them. I'm not going to give them no $1. Somebody going to do it $1. He's sitting out there, man, he ain't even got a shirt on, and ain't got no legs. He need to go someplace and be able to relax for a night where he ain't got to sleep outside. And that could be any of us. Anybody, any one last one of us can be walking around, or not even be able to walk because we don't even have no legs. And I just believe that, we just got more heart than that. All of us that's listening. I believe we got more heart than that. We just got to make better decisions with what we're doing with this money so that we're not sitting around contemplating helping people and stuff because we're so doggone broke. Any kind of business relationship where you do all that hard work, then take the money that you make and go into business with people who won't tell you what they're doing with your money, and they'll use it at their bequest, and they'll flip it 10x it, 100x it, and then give you some little crumbs, but that's not a good business relationship. And I want y'all to get out of that. I want to help you all to be able to get out of that. I don't have bad business relationships with people. If I want to give somebody something, I always get it, 100% of the time. Why? Because I pay attention to my money. I pay attention to where it's going and what it's doing and how it's being returned to me. I don't let people pour pee on my head, tell me it's raining, and I don't want y'all to do that either. All right? So, as we wrap up this conversation, one more time, I would take this video and I would send it to at least 10 of my friends, and I would ask my friends this question: are you a creditor or are you a debtor in the monetary system? I would ask them that question. Then I would ask them, do you receive your money back from the bank when you deposit it, or do they keep it? I would ask them that question. Are you filing a 1099-A and a 1099-B? Or are you leaving the bank deposits with the bank like it's just okay for them to do with what they want to do with it? Because that's what they're after. They're not after your deposit. They're after the credit that your deposit creates. All right, listen to me. They're after the credit that your deposit creates. And I don't want people taking advantage of y'all. They don't take advantage of me. They don't take advantage of Shantae. They don't take advantage of my son. They don't take advantage of my daughter. They don't take advantage of none of us, because we are all operating up under private trust. And our money is private. And can't nobody get it. They can't take it. They can't do nothing about it. We can buy and sell as we want to. It's private. And we don't have to pay taxes on the money we make either, because taxes are voluntary. And if you got a private account, can't nobody go into your private account or tax it. All that money we making on Bitcoin and everything, and on these cryptocurrencies as we speak. You know, we got cryptocurrencies. We done made like 6,000% on them. And y'all, ain't no way in the world I leave my money in no bank and get no 1% interest. We got accounts that have made 6,000%, and it don't even have to pay taxes on the gains, because they all in a private account. So that's my encouragement to you all today. Become the creditor and not the debtor. And if you're interested in that and learning more about that, then come to the Financial IQ Challenge. Okay? If you sign up to be in the Platinum section, you can ask me questions. Okay? Because some of you all send me messages, not some of you all, but several of you from around the whole world. Y'all send me messages saying, hey, Rick, I'd like to talk to you. And I'm like, well, I don't have personal appointments because I wouldn't have no time to spend with Shantae or the grandkids. Well, I just got through spending time for the whole weekend with the grandkids. And this life is about legacy. It's not about working all day. I'm not interested in working all day. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in the money working. And I don't want y'all working all day either. Don't nobody that work for me work more than probably 2 or 3 hours a day. Everybody that works for me. My son, my daughter, when my grandkids work, Shantae, all the people that work for me. Don't nobody work for everybody work for 2 hours a day, something like that. And the reason is because I don't think we're supposed to be working 8 hours a day. I think that's some nonsense. I believe we're supposed to have a life. Now, if the money is working, we ain't got to work so hard. Okay? So I'm gonna give y'all another about 30 seconds to put challenge in the chat if you're interested in coming before I go. I got to go teach a inner circle meeting now. But if you're interested in coming, just put challenge in the chat and we'll send you the link. It's gonna come directly to you. I'll give you about 30 seconds to do that. And I look forward to seeing some of you champions. I know some of you all already signed up and that you'll be in class on Monday. But I don't want you to let the week go by. We're over here becoming more learned, trained, encouraged creditors. And then you go through another week as an uninformed debtor and go another 2 weeks of direct deposits with the bank and being 100% taken advantage of. All right? You're not going to learn this in school. You're not going to learn this in college. You're not going to learn this at your job. You definitely ain't going to learn it from the bank because the banker don't even know what I'm talking about. Why? Because I got banking clients that are in my inner circle who work for the bank for over 27 years. Ain't never seen what we do. Right here, me living a whole new life, and they was a banker for 27 years. But if you're a banker, that just means that you just counting somebody else's money. That just means you just guarding the master's money. It don't mean nothing for you. I'm all about what does it mean to me? What does it mean to you? I ain't into no superficial relationships. So I want to encourage you to stop being in them too. Stop being in relationships while you got some prestige. You can't spend prestige. My daddy, God rest his soul, my daddy was real cheap. I love my father. I ain't dissing him, all right? But he was cheap, all right? He just didn't take advantage of his talent. He had a lot of talent. He would have let God use him. It is what it is because that's his personal business. But I would call Daddy. I said, hey, Daddy, can a brother I remember I just wanted a pair of gym shoes. I said, Daddy, can I get some new gym shoes? Because he was the mayor of his town. You know, he had a lot of prestige. I know the town wasn't nothing but about 6 blocks long, but Daddy was the mayor, you did. So I called, I said, hey, Daddy, can I get some money for some gym shoes? He's like, well, Ricky? I said, yeah, what's that? He said, son. I said, yeah, Pops. He said, I can't spend authority because that's all I got. I see you in class, David. I say, that's all you got, Pops? He's like, yeah. He said, all I got is authority, and I can't spend authority. In other words, you ain't getting no money. All right. All right, what's your question, Cash Cow? Can you claim all the money that you had with previous? No, you cannot claim the money that you had with previous banks. And the reason that you can't do that is because every deposit that you made up to this point, you were a debtor. You were not a creditor. So the money that you put in up until this point is just hemorrhaging. So you just like all your life, you've been hemorrhaging money. That's all. Everybody that's a debtor is a hemorrhager, literally bleed money. So the answer to that question, Cash Cow, is no. But listen, the way that we live our life and the way that I encourage everybody to live their life is we live from our future. We look towards where it is that we're headed, and we just totally forget about what already took place because that requires too much energy, being worried about that. I'm just glad that before I died, in my late 50s, in my early 60s, I learned how to break the code. I'm just grateful for that. And I pray that if I can get 20 or 30 more in, that'll be a blessing. I'd be super happy about that. But I'm training everybody, my kids and all the young folks now. I'm training all of them so they can get it now, so that they won't be, in this system for 15, 20, 30 years, letting the banks pimp and manipulate them and letting the Federal Reserve basically run their lives. So we have a different culture. We're training our kids on a different culture. My daughter just got married. She got a lot of time, my daughter Shantice, she got a lot of time to spend with her new husband. because she only has to work for me for a few hours because we don't work all night and all day. That's not how we work. So cash cow, don't worry about, this is my advice to you. Don't worry about the fact that they've been getting you all this time. Just be glad that you found out what's going on and do something about it. All right? Just don't let nobody get you no more. And I really want y'all to understand that, because whenever we get too absorbed in what happened to us, we can't do nothing about what's going to happen to us. So whenever we are trying to control or too focused on what already went by that we cannot control, then what we can control that's right in front of us, we don't focus on it. And then things just go right by the wayside. And then what we could have been doing, it doesn't get accomplished because we're talking about what happened some time ago. So that's my advice as far as that's concerned. The answer, first of all, to your question is no, you cannot get past bank deposits back, because every dollar you put into that bank before you get a trust is a debt dollar that was deposited. And you will never see that money again. It's gone forever. Just do something about what's going on now. Learn how to become a creditor now as opposed to being a debtor. All right? He said, I didn't know the bank does that with people money, so thank you. You're welcome, Hines. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. And if you come to the challenge, you'll learn a whole lot more. So if you're interested in coming to the challenge, just put challenge in the chat. And some of you all, I don't talk late at night. Like this late for me because I'm 63, so it's late. I'm getting tired already. So normally I'm not talking to nobody at night. But so if you're interested in coming again, let me give you the dates. October the 6th is when we start. 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern. The challenge is 2 hours every day. If you're in the VIP section, I highly recommend the VIP section. If you're not in the VIP section, if you're in the Facebook section, the general section, it's only 1 hour because you get the second half, okay? So the VIP is where I would be. I would be in the VIP section. That's where I would come. Okay, that's my recommendation. You do whatever makes the most sense to you. But whenever I go to anything, I always want to be sitting in the front because I got bad eyesight. I like to be sitting in the back because I can't hardly see nothing. I know we're online, and what I mean is that I don't want to miss nothing. So if you don't want to miss nothing, then you want to be in the VIP section. And that's what I recommend for you. All right? Listen, I love you all. You all enjoy the rest of your beautiful night. It's been a plum, pleasing pleasure, as well as a privilege. If you're interested in the Financial IQ Challenge and you want to become a creditor versus being a debtor, then I'd be glad to teach you that, because I am a creditor. Shantae is a creditor. Ricky is a creditor. Our families are creditors. We done train everybody that wants to learn in our family, and we're training people clear across the world. And perhaps you might be one of our new students if you so desire. So one more time, put the word challenge in the chat if you're interested. That link will come directly to you right now as we speak. And I would just go ahead on and fill it out while you're thinking about it, okay? So, yeah, Kevin, just put challenge. Just put challenge in the chat, Kevin. I gave you a chance to do that right now. If you just put the words challenge in. Say, how do you contact you? I'm 29, so I'm trying to learn the system to do. Yeah, come to the challenge. My appointments are $50,000 an hour because I want to spend my time kissing my wife and playing with my grandkids. I'm not interested in a lot of appointments. That's why I train you all in a group setting so that we can all do the same thing, all right? Yep, and watch some more of my videos, Kevin. I've got 3,000 videos. I've been live for 6 years, all right? Got clients all over the world. And so just get to know your brother. I ain't in no hurry. I'm not rushing you to do nothing. Okay. So God bless you all. I'm gonna give y'all about another 15 seconds to put challenge in the chat. Okay. 15, 14, challenge. Just put the word challenge if you want to come. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. God bless you all. I love you. Enjoy the rest of y'all beautiful day. It's been a plum, pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. I'll see y'all on the other side of money. And remember that stellar is as stellar does. Have an outstanding evening. God bless everybody.